welcome to the American Fork Podcast. You are now listening to episode 85 of the show.
Which means that America is 85% fixed.
Are we going to 100?
Is that how this works?
Yeah. It only takes 100 episodes.
I'm thinking 0.5% per episode.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to do 200 of these at least.
Even if it's fixed, you just like keep podcasting no matter what.
Come on, like it's really going to be fixed. America's, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take some teamwork, and we're not doing it in another 20-some episodes. Okay, fine.
So my name's Jake. I'm hosting tonight. And we have, per the usual, we have Jeff.
Oh, yeah. I was about to stand up. What's up?
Don't stand up. It's a podcast.
This is what my voice sounds like.
You sound better when you're sitting down.
Thank you.
And Phil.
I'm here. Here I am.
I can't believe it's not Phil's voice.
And we also have two special guests tonight. And we have Sam and Sarah Beeson with us. Hello, Sam and Sarah Beeson.
We are in the house.
Hello.
I'm almost feeling outnumbered. Usually there's one guest. We got two here.
Yeah. I'm with Sarah.
It's pretty intimidating. But welcome to the 6 Foot Studios, as we call it.
We love it. It's nice in here. Thank you.
I'm comfortable.
Can't
I'm
be too
5'2",
tall.
So
yeah, you can't be too tall and be in here at the same time. But fortunately, we're all average height.
Well, you only have to sit in here. So as long as you're not like 8'4",
That's true.
you'll fit.
Yeah, that's
as long
true.
as your torso is not 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Yes. So as the normal thing occurs, we are going to introduce some local news that's going on. And I was hoping that there would not be any American Fork news relating to a miscreant
Shooting.
dangerous driver running over his girlfriend, but about 2 hours ago there was.
Oh, that's still
great.
the news.
In American Fork. It's a different story.
Oh, another crazy driver
So
stealing kids?
my title of this story is New TikTok Trend? ? There was a man and woman reportedly without clothes in a car driving around in American Fork, and the police found them and attempted to stop them. And I guess the woman had gotten out of the car, and the man was driving, and he drove away and ran over her foot, which seems to be a trend in American Fork.
Yeah.
Wait, two people not dressed. The woman got out and he ran her over. Ran her foot over. Okay.
Yeah, in an attempt to evade the police.
Oh, okay.
And so...
wow. No drugs involved, I imagine, right?
Well, you would think that he didn't have anything in his possession, but it turns out he did. Got out of the car and ran to a local auto repair shop, which I was thinking, is that maybe Greenwood Auto-ish area? About 2 blocks west of where he's at.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
Somehow that's the story. You're worried about that detail and you have two naked people driving around?
But I thought it was weird that... So he was booked into the Utah County Sheriff's Office for failure to stop, fleeing, reckless endangerment, reckless driving, paraphernalia, leaving the scene of an accident, lewdness, aggravated assault, commercial obstruction, marijuana, having a suspended license, and violating a protective order.
That's called the guy's being dumb and they hit him with everything they could.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're going to get this one.
So they arrest the guy. Is he in the clink? Not the band, the clink. Is he in the clink?
They didn't say where he's at now. They just
because when he gets out, they're going to say, "Here's your pozzessions," and they're going to give him an empty bag.
Right?
And they're like,
so funny.
by the way, we need that jumpsuit.
Yeah, we're going to need our jumpsuit back. Oh,
Here's a pair of jeans you
I
can
hope
borrow.
this is not my neighbor.
That's so funny. I will say that I talked to a cop who wanted to open a business that sold alcohol and cashed checks, because when you get out of jail, I'm sure you have to serve a certain amount of time. Like if you're in there overnight, they're not going to give you a check. But like if you're there for 30, 60, 90 days, they actually give you some money in the form of a check. Okay. And so his whole thing was, if I sell cigarettes, beer, and a check cashing place across the street from the county jail, like that's a great business.
All will be hit. Everything will get hit on his
He's definitely filling a void, but he might need to sell some clothes, is what I'm saying, in that store.
Yeah.
If
that one.
There's any more perps
boy.
like that.
And shoes. His name's Joshua Besant. He's 27 years old.
So unfortunate.
Yeah.
Obviously not an American Fork native, because that's not how we represent.
Right.
We're clothed every time we get out of the house.
We will just say he was from Provo.
He was from Provo. Okay, that was not an audible joke, and audible jokes are not allowed, especially when they're that funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
Mr. Sam,
Go get him.
go get him.
You're saying you might know this guy.
Well, go get some clothes, bro. Darn it.
Yeah.
Dang it.
The other American Fork news is not loading on my phone, but the title is American Fork High cheerleader paralyzed in ATV accident is honored at the football game last weekend.
That was cool. Yeah, the football team came out with her. And it's kind of a miraculous story because she really wasn't doing well. And she's shown a lot of progress. A lot of people rallying at the high school. That was cool.
This is a student that was paralyzed.
In an ATV.
Yeah.
And when you say she wasn't doing well, like they thought they might lose her?
Well, they thought she was paralyzed from the neck down, then the torso down, but she's showing movement and progress.
Wow.
She was in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
Like Kill Bill when she moves her toe. Never mind.
I don't remember that
Okay.
part.
Her name is Emily Traveler, and she was cheerleader from American Fork High School. She just recently got back from physical therapy clinic in Colorado, and that's when they honored her at the high school football game.
Wow.
So this lady is an ATV accident, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was at a dance last year.
Oh,
It was really tough. It was difficult
one of the
for
day
all.
dates.
Yeah, one of the day dates. Really
my
difficult for all
gosh.
the students. They rallied well. That's such a delicate thing too, because you want to talk about the issue at school. Because I work at that high school, but at the same time, there's people in there with tender feelings. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's a sensitive thing when something like that occurs in high school, like when she's like in the care of other high school students.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, my daughter broke her arm, and I asked the pediatric whatever it is. The people, all they do is put on casts, like
PA, physician's assistant.
I don't know. No, this was like a clinic in Primary Children's Hospital.
Oh.
Twice a week, all they do is put on casts, and the other times I think they're taking X-rays, and it is specifically geared towards breaks for children. And I asked the doctor, I said, if there's one thing you could get rid of and it would like lessen your business a lot, like I was thinking skateboards or scooters or something, she said, hands down ATVs. For sure, 100% ATVs.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, those side-by-sides, a lot of people are having accidents like down at the dunes and stuff. They're
Yeah.
rolling over, and they're not the safest, but more so than a four-wheeler.
Yeah, and even worse than that, the three-wheelers that we grew up on.
They stopped making those a while ago.
That's true.
Those things are sketchy.
Well, I think we thought things were going to get better if we added another wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it never has.
And a cage and everything.
Yeah.
Sarah, I like where you're going. I'm thinking the five-wheeler. Let's make it more safe.
But see, now
Just
it's still
wheels all
uneven. You're going to
around.
have to go 6.
Okay, 6. I'm
Wheels all
down.
around.
Spider
and a seat.
legs.
But since
Right.
you have the idea, my company has 8.
Oh,
So
there you go.
I don't know where anyone else is going to go
Now we're
from
back
there.
in a car. So,
On
or an
the road.
18-wheeler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
driving the speed limit with our seatbelts on.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. That does it.
As far as Utah news, this one I call go to the movies on September 3rd. September 3rd is National Cinema Day, and most of the theaters in Utah and around the nation actually are going to be selling movie tickets for $3 that day.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday.
Hey.
That's cool.
So next Saturday,
Yeah, it's this Saturday.
the Saturday before Labor Day,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
it's coming
this
up.
coming Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't go because it's in the past.
Yeah. So after,
Yeah,
This will
dang
be
it.
released on next Tuesday.
okay, what
Yeah.
Jake meant to
I
say
hope
was,
you went to the movies on September 3rd.
what he meant to say was it was super awesome
Yeah,
watching
wasn't that
Maverick
great?
for the 5th time.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding. $3 this time.
Yeah.
Wasn't movie tickets in 1986 $3.25?
Was it?
I don't know. You worked at the theater. You worked at Man Theaters.
Yeah.
It was about that.
I don't remember. I remember I got paid $3.75 an hour. That's true.
Well, less than 1 hour work will get you into the movies this weekend. And if you take your lovely wife, it will be 2 hours of work.
You got to clean the
Believe
popper.
that.
Yeah, this article doesn't say if the cost is like a throwback cost, but it's September 3rd, so that's probably why it's $3.
I'm going.
But
I'm
Larry
there.
H. Miller Megaplex theaters are selling $3 tickets at all their 15 Utah locations. AMC $3 tickets with $5 popcorn and drink combos.
Still a ripoff.
Cinemark $3, and then $3 for any size candy.
Isn't that what it is right now? $3 for candy?
For medium fountain drinks as well.
Goober.
Yeah, it's about $3 for.
It's pricey.
Oh, I thought it was
Maybe
like
even
$6 now. For
Yeah, you
candy
may
at
be
the
right.
theater.
You may be right. Yeah, it's pricey.
I thought it's got way up.
Here's what I know.
I could be wrong.
I took my daughter to see a movie for her birthday, and she had some friends. And I wish I could remember dollar amounts, but I only remember ratios. It was 3 times the amount of money for the snack bar as it was for the tickets. And the tickets aren't cheap, of course, as you guys know.
goodness.
Yeah, that's where they
And
make
I'm
their
like-
money is the concessions.
Yeah, I know. And that's where I lose my money.
Well, and they're still not making money. Did you hear, what was it? One of those major chains is filing for bankruptcy. I want to say it's AMC or Regal, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Regal?
Regal's- whatever one is based in the UK, they're going down maybe. So
Do they have a dollar theater anywhere now? Well, I missed that.
I don't think so because a little while back, a few years back, the Motion Picture Association or whatever forced every theater in the country to update to new projectors and sound equipment.
Yeah.
So dollar theaters had to either update or not get movies anymore.
The last one was off the Diagonal in Provo. It was
Uh-huh.
Movies 8. That was $1.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the big place to go at BYU.
Yeah.
Good date. If you didn't like the movie and you wanted your money back, you got the $1 back.
Oh, wow.
I'll take it in quarters. I'll take
How was the
4
movie?
quarters.
Terrible. Here's $1. Bye.
Here's 4 quarters. Go play the
Here
video
you
game
go.
out in the lobby.
They just plan on handing them all back
Yeah.
as people walk out.
They just have a bucket of $1 bills that people can just take as they walk out. My dad would take me there all the time, and I loved it because it was $1. You walked in, and then you could get a pickle, which is a thing that is
Yeah.
underrated at movie
I
theaters.
agree. I
You get
agree.
a full big dill pickle for like $2, twice as much as the movie. and then when my dad wasn't there and it was more friends, not even these two, but we would go from one movie theater and then just walk to the next one and watch another movie or part of another movie and then just walk to the next one until one of our parents came and picked us up.
The good old days.
Yeah.
So
That's
great.
super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no regulation there.
Yeah.
They've got, so Town Cinema was close to $1 for a while, Sticky Shoe.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Now it's the Town
American
Hub,
Fork.
which does like live performances and stuff. But the Water Gardens in Pleasant Grove is still really cheap.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like $3.50 or $5 for a movie.
Remember when
And-
that place was brand new?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's still busy on the weekends.
By the
too.
way,
Yeah.
they have, bar none, the best popcorn.
Really?
do they?
Yeah.
it's good popcorn
It's
there.
the best. It's the best popcorn.
We've gone just to buy the popcorn.
No, we have gone.
Are you
to-
serious?
No
we bought
movie, but
popcorn
just
and-
to buy the popcorn.
And then watch a movie at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that all the time.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
Well, if you're
Yeah.
a connoisseur of popcorn, you get
That's valid.
yeah,
I-
and
I
I,
was-
think they use the coconut oil. Is that why
I
it's
I
so
don't know.
good?
It's amazing. Shout out Pleasant Grove. You're right next to American Fork.
Cinema 6, Water Gardens.
It is right next to it.
I remember waiting in line for the new Star Wars, the prequels, when they first came out. That's where I went.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I don't recall the popcorn, though. Now I need to drive down
Oh,
there.
it's so good.
Okay.
Go get
And
some.
refills, etc.
It's just really hard, the movie industry now.
Ugh.
I mean, with Netflix and having to compete with Amazon Prime,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
I think that is a hard thing. It used to be in the 80s that you could go to, the Fox Theater down there in Provo, and they'd have midnight movies. Carillon Square in Orem, they'd have midnight movies, and it would bring out so many people. And they'd have trilogies, and you would start at midnight and get done about
Right.
6 in the morning. They just you can't compete with that. Now you just can stay home, get cozy, bring your blankets. Even though I've seen some people bring blankets
Yeah.
into
No
the theater.
Yeah, my kids do.
Yeah, but it's hard, right? I don't know.
I mean, for Phil's gonna punch me for this, but for like a couple grand, you can have a sweet setup at your house with a decent sound bar and subwoofer and a big
Yeah.
screen and
don't
the-
forget the ability to pause.
That's right.
Huge.
That's huge.
It is.
Or fast forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
But one
Or
thing
rewind.
I have found that you cannot get at home is popcorn. Really,
Look at you.
guys.
Look what you
That's
did.
all.
You did it. You brought it
You brought
back.
it back. Perfect segue. back.
And not to belabor this, but I have to watch movies with subtitles.
Oh,
I
really?
watch TV with subtitles.
At home?
Everything. Yes. You don't miss a thing.
Yeah, I hate it. My wife will turn the subtitles on.
Oh,
I'm like, get those off. Siri, turn subtitles off.
Really?
That's what I say.
You can't even push a button?
No, it's just a button on the remote.
Wow.
I don't have to say Siri.
You know what I hate? I have an Alexa device, a show, that, or I don't know what it's called actually, but it's a pretty good size. And when you listen to music, it shows you the lyrics.
What?
Yeah, like just automatically, I guess. You can probably change it on a setting.
We have that. I've seen that. Yeah.
On the thing, on our Roku thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it actually good though?
No. What I'm saying is the music, when you listen to music, like, you know, hey, play Eminem, and then it'll show you the lyrics while the song from Eminem's playing.
I mean, are the lyrics accurate, or is it like? Have you ever turned the subtitles on
Totally.
YouTube?
Well, it's the auto-generated. That's
Exactly.
the issue.
Yeah. And that's what I was wondering. Is it like auto?
It seems to be correct, but
Oh,
what I
okay.
will tell you, when I'm like, hey, Alexa, put on some 90s rap, and I see the lyrics, I'm like, you know, I actually didn't need, I could have gone my whole life not
Yes.
knowing what that song was about.
Oh, boy.
I just like the beat. Let's not talk about the lyrics.
Yeah.
It ruined it for me.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But movies are definitely different.
Yeah, it's different.
So, question: what is the last movie theater movie you went to that was an epic movie that you loved?
What was it?
Maverick.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no
Yeah,
question.
it's It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Top
Maverick.
Gun.
By
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the first half of Thor, which I was like, whatever. And then my 3-year-old was more interested in stairs than a Marvel comic.
Yeah, going up
movie.
and down.
And so I had to leave. But that was when my girls were all still there. But yeah, for sure, Top Gun Maverick. That might be what we go see this weekend.
But
if it's
what
still in
was it?
theaters.
I mean, because that's fascinating. Because you're younger than we are. We know why we like it because it brings back feelings of the
Yeah.
80s. But I'm curious of why you liked it.
Yeah, because we're 50. I'm 51. She's 53. How old are you?
38.
Hey.
Yeah, we're pushing 40.
Okay.
So
you're
we're
close.
old enough. We've seen Top Gun, but we were young in the 80s.
Well, no, let me answer her question because
okay.
I saw Top Gun for the first time 2 months before the new one
Oh,
came
that's
out.
true. Jeff hadn't seen
I'd
it.
never seen it. Now,
Cool.
with the YouTube world and online, I feel like I've seen every scene of it at some point, whether it was like a sketch or a joke or, you know, the volleyball scene. I probably saw that 400 or 500 times on a certain website. But,
Everyone listening's like, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Check.
but so I never actually watched the whole thing, and it was a great movie. It was cool, but the music from it completely iconic, 100%. I mean, I didn't realize how much music came from that movie that was so popular.
Yeah.
And so obviously I loved that. I knew the music way more before I realized it was, oh, that was made for Top Gun. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is awesome, of course, his action movies and everything. But I think even without the original movie, that movie is just
It's
epic.
so good.
I'd actually wondered, and I've talked about this on this podcast before. I wondered if COVID didn't make it better because,
Yep.
as you may know, it was supposed to be released in like 2018 or something.
Oh, really?
And then 2019, then COVID happened, and it kept getting pushed back and pushed back. And I wonder if they just had like extra time to be like, why
Yeah,
don't we
I-
just go through this, see what we
Let's
can
refine it a little further.
edit or whatever. And maybe other movies these days, they're just like push them through, get it done. Oh, it's half ready. Get it out there. We gotta release.
Yeah, that's what
on
I
this
think.
day.
They had
I don't
like
know.
2.5 years of post production
yeah, they
where
had
they
a long
could
time.
fine tune all the sound. They probably added some more music.
All the corny lines, all the awkward things in the story. I don't know. And maybe that's just
So it's the silver lining to COVID.
yeah. Maybe COVID gave us a great movie, which was
One of the few good things to come out of COVID was Maverick.
yeah. I don't know.
I agree. I felt like that was like the movie that, I don't know, was just good old American, good, clean movie.
Yeah.
I went in 1986 with my girlfriends. We were sophomores.
Yeah.
And then we all four had to go together
Yeah.
this last time.
That's
So
so
Oh, cool.
cute.
it was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jeff made the joke. His daughter, they watched Top Gun, like he said, a few months before, and he said they're going to see this one. And Tom Cruise is almost 60, and they went to see it, and she goes, "Oh, good, he's still cute."
This is my 11-year-old. She goes,
Yeah.
oh, he's still cute.
still
like
cute.
she was
Oh,
relieved.
cute.
Like, oh, thank God, because
I think Tom Cruise is concerned that he remain cute.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. He's got some money on the line.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, even Val Kilmer looked great.
I thought he did too.
I was so glad that they had that element.
they put
back
him into
in.
it, yeah.
Yes.
my tongue is bleeding right now from biting it so hard. There's some really bad jokes to make right there. But
Yeah. Hey, good job.
Thank you.
There's a child in the room.
Give me
still.
Oh,
Still there.
it wasn't lewd. I was just going to say he looked like he's on death's door.
Oh, that's
What's the next subject
Too
we're going to
soon.
talk about? Because I don't.
Well,
think
and maybe you didn't see him. So there were a couple of interviews with him, like in the preceding years,
yeah.
and he looked pretty rough. Like, in the movie, he looked like way better than I expected.
He did.
Because he had like all this throat cancer going
and
on.
that scene actually was quite emotional, but not for the typical reasons. It was like very touching for some reason. Obviously, because I think it was very personal between Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer. So it was like that communicated out to the audience.
I think so too. I really did
All
think
joking
that,
aside, it really was a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, back to the
think-
jokes.
Okay.
I think we all agree Tom Cruise is the most epic movie of recent time.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as nationwide news is concerned, my subject title is called Gummy Bear Windmills.
Yeah, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I heard something about this. That is like,
So scientists have discovered how to recycle wind turbines into gummy bears.
Yeah.
And
this can be for human
kind
consumption.
of got me pretty excited because obviously that's a big issue with wind turbines is, you know, they're great for the environment because you're producing natural energy, but then what do you do with the turbines when they're old, right? They're sitting in landfills.
Yeah, after they chop a certain amount of birds and bats in half, they
Yes.
just
Right.
get worn out. You
Yeah.
gotta
And
turn them
so
into something.
So this is not a solution to the windmills as they currently are. They figured out a new recipe of, you know, resin, fiberglass, and other plant-based materials that they
Natural
can make windmills
fiberglass.
out of, and it can actually be broken down into things that can be used in food, and gummy bears is one of those things.
Did you find this story on The Onion?
I didn't.
Because this sounds like a bunch of bull crap.
Yeah, you had me at fiberglass and gummy bears with fiberglass.
It doesn't sound right.
No, it sounds like
sounds-
a prison treat.
Well, it sounds like Babylon Bee. Is this Babylon Bee?
It isn't.
Youngin.
Mm-mm.
Is Babylon Bee another news agency that make up stories?
This is very.
It's very like
onion.
the onion.
It's
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, the
I
onion,
think it's
okay.
the conservative side of the onion.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it says to accomplish the new turbine material, glass fibers were combined with plant-derived
So you
and
lost me.
synthetic polymer.
You lost me.
The combination resulted in a new composite resin that was durable enough to be used in turbines, yet dissolvable, allowing it to be recast into new products. The beauty of our resin is that our resin system is that at the end of its use cycle, we can dissolve it, and that releases it from whatever matrix it's in, so that we can be used over and over in an infinite loop.
So basically, you're hearing for the first time what's actually in your food,
Right.
Because I believe we're eating this.
Yeah,
stuff
it doesn't
probably
surprise me that gummy bears would have something like fiberglass and resin in it.
Did you have Army Man pieces in your Cheerios?
The story could have been Wind Turbine Company teams up with McDonald's for new menu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But here's what I'm recommending. When these gummy bears come out, buy it, keep your receipt, take a photo with the day's newspaper, all that stuff. So when the class action lawsuit happens 30 years from now, you have evidence that you were exposed and that you can just take part in it.
Good one.
Yep.
There you go. You know, when we lived in Boston, there was this burrito chain back there that was like all healthy or whatever, and they had, when you got one of their cups, it's like a clear plastic cup, you know, but it said on it, this cup is made entirely out of corn. Do whatever you want with it, and it will dissolve, pretty much.
Wow.
Which was hard to believe because it was like a robust, clear, just like this water bottle sit in front of us, cup. So
And
they
it's
could.
made out of corn.
That's what they claimed. So
What I'm wondering about this is, okay, so let's say they do take these wind turbine, what are they, the blades, repurpose them. You eat a gummy bear that's made from the resin. Is that wind energy you're going on? Is that are you running
Are
on
you
wind?
renewable energy?
And do I have to tell my kids?
And will it
there's a
give you-
million? There's a million things wrong with this.
And will it give you gas?
And
duck-
will it?
wind
yeah.
and wind and
natural
bird
gas,
guts.
because that's
It would be
antithetical
natural, yep.
to the purpose of a turbine
Yep.
is natural gas.
and how many bald
Methane.
eagle feathers are infused
Yeah.
into those fibers?
How many bird guts
Yeah.
are you eating in your red gummy
Eat your
worms?
fiberglass.
Yeah. You get my age, you got to eat your fiberglass.
Yeah, that's it. Wow, where was that from? That was just news.
Yeah, that was the food news on the news app that I use.
Their PR guy needs to like baby step it. Like first thing, pig feed. Like, let's just talk about
Yeah.
feeding the pigs this crap.
Yeah.
Then slowly transitioned into the gummy bears.
There you go.
They need a new PR guy.
I think
Call me.
they're trying to associate it with something that nobody cares about the ingredients. Like, oh, gummy bears. You've never looked at a gummy bear package to see what's in
valid.
there.
That's valid.
So they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Well, it's like Jell-O. You're like,
Yeah.
do you know where it's coming from?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Elmer's
But
Jell-O.
I mean, I think it's cool that they now have a way to create something strong like wind turbines they can be broken down and reused.
Sure.
That's a solution to the problem that they've got.
Yeah,
right
because
now.
they're burying them now, right? They just take those big things and
Yeah,
bury them.
well, they're
Or they're
creating
just
landfills out of
stacking
them.
them up in a pile.
Yeah.
Because they're like 80-foot long carbon fiber or something. Like you can't saw it, you can't break it.
Isn't that what the
Super
southern
strong.
wall's made of?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Actually, from New Mexico to Arizona,
Whoa.
three blades
There you go.
coverage.
That's actually a really good idea you just had.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
I have lots of good ideas.
We solved America.
Let's end the show now.
Yeah.
The other thing happens to be about food, and it's a public service announcement. They have this food blogger discovered the best way to cook frozen waffles.
Sounds like an opinion category.
There are 4 different methods to cooking frozen waffles, and I will let you guys try to figure out which one is the most successful.
Low setting on the toaster, medium setting, and high setting.
So there's the toaster,
The toaster oven.
the toaster oven kind of gets you the same
Okay.
result. There's the oven, regular oven.
That's how you burn your house
There's
down.
the stovetop,
No.
Like in a,
Stovetop.
And
explain.
then a waffle maker.
and then an air fryer.
Oh, air fryer.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was
So-
just thinking you'd stick it right back on, try to make it all even.
in
with
the waffle iron.
in the
That's
waffle.
true.
Yeah, they didn't even think about
I'm
that
going to
one.
say, I'm going to go out on a limb and say air fryer, hands down.
Air
It's the
fryer.
Probably
best.
the best one.
It might dry it out, though. Don't ruin it for us, Jake. We're going to debate this for a minute.
Go ahead.
I mean, would you say
But that's why you have the magic syrup that has
That's
butter
valid.
and cream and,
You got
because
good
it's
stuff.
kind of like those French toast dip things.
Oh, yeah.
You like them a little dry,
crisp on it.
Crispy,
crisp.
but then the center's all nice?
Well, when you dip
I'd
it in,
see that as
butter.
I don't understand the stovetop. How do you do it on a stovetop?
Yeah.
Do you
Jake?
like, what is that?
Yeah,
a little
Jake.
butter on a pan and just
Like a
stick it on
skillet?
there, maybe.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
well,
you
well-
cook it like a flapjack.
well, no, I wouldn't do it, but maybe
But
that's
so,
what some
Sam, let me tell
person
you.
did.
Here's what you do. You get your cast iron skillet as hot as you possibly can.
Got
you
it.
get a high heat oil, okay? Pour it on there. You sear the outsides. And then depending on how you like your waffle, if you like it
Medium rare.
a little bit frozen, then you just pull it off and let it rest
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. Or you can move it into the oven. That's what Gordon Ramsay taught me.
Wow.
Is this true?
No, I made it all up.
I'm like,
So the
That's how you cook a steak.
apparently the most successful method was the stovetop method.
what?
Oh.
You put it on a
my
frying
goodness.
pan
With
hot-
some
high
butter.
heat with some butter and cinnamon sugar,
Oh.
and it caramelizes on it, but it still allows.
Okay.
So they found that the oven and the air fryer made it too crispy
I knew it.
Well, you were
and
right
dried
on
it
that.
out.
Yeah, I like a crispy
So-
waffle.
But
though.
this seems like it would have it may cook it on the outside, but still be frozen on the inside.
like Gordon Ramsay said.
Here's what
Medium
I'm thinking.
rare waffles.
Here's my upset with this. What other cooking method did they all of a sudden splurge and throw some cinnamon in there and do all this stuff? It's like, did you want this Ferrari and frozen waffle or just this regular frozen waffle?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'll take the Ferrari one.
Yeah, they.
Like,
It's
come on.
it's probably actually cinnamon.
Yeah.
They're like they gave you all these options. They put cinnamon on one.
Cinnamon.
Everyone chose that one.
Yeah.
Plus
Well, I don't
it's
know.
about-
Cooking it in butter sounds
Delightful.
appropriate.
Well,
No,
anything in butter.
I believe in that one. I thought the butter might crispen the outer edges a little bit, leaving the soft interior moist and gooey.
Caramelizes the butter and the sugar on the outside.
It sounds like a Boy Scout recipe, like
Yeah.
something you'd eat at Scout camp.
Yeah.
Or you could just make waffles.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Don't,
there you go.
Don't be absurd.
If there are any college students listening, that you can try that.
yeah.
I mean,
Totally.
you have to buy frozen waffles when you're in college.
Totally related, but not related. I was just thinking, when was the last time I made a waffle at home? It's been a while.
Oh, they're glorious. If you make a homemade batter,
Uh-huh.
crisp up that thing
Yeah.
with butter, A lot of butter on there.
And some butter.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got one of those rotating
Yeah,
waffle irons,
like
they're the
yeah.
best.
Hotels.
Waffle maker.
Yeah.
The problem is my 3-year-old just wants me to make baby pancakes, he calls it, which is basically like, you know how you pour out a pancake and then a little bit drips on the side of it?
Yeah.
The baby
They,
ones.
they're the size of a dime or smaller. That's what he wants, but he wants 80 of them. So I find myself with a spoon, okay, hurry. Oh, dribble it all over the pan. Okay, cool.
Don't let them touch.
That one's
You don't
too
want 'em
big.
big.
You
You're
won't
like-
eat that one.
You're like flicking it off a toothbrush,
Basically, yeah. Yeah.
like a Jackson Pollock painting.
So,
Just scoop that up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just
yeah. Now try flipping them. That's where it gets hard.
they burn in
Oh,
3
yeah.
seconds. Turn them.
And then you
Yeah.
get a spatula that at this point with pancakes that side isn't a spatula, it's a bulldozer. And it's just he shoves them all to the side and you I don't know. My son loves
You
me
got
for
to
it,
use
though.
a ketchup squeeze bottle. Put it in there and just go
That
bloop, bloop,
is
bloop, bloop,
Yes,
bloop, bloop.
that's
Okay.
what you do.
That
That's
makes the
brilliant.
babies.
Okay, I'll
There
tell
it is.
Wesley.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Jake and his wife are bakery connoisseurs.
Are they?
Yeah.
We haven't brought it up. You used to have a cupcake truck.
We
Yeah.
did have a cupcake
truck made of cupcakes.
It was didn't last in the sun very long.
What was this
it
thing
failed.
called? What was it called?
It's called Street Sweets and Eats.
Yeah.
So we
Sounds
sold
divine.
cupcakes, cake pops, cookies, and paninis.
Wow.
And no longer. You don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
No.
it failed.
It did fail because we didn't stick with it.
Due to the support of his friends.
We were
Yeah.
we were both working full time and then making 1,000 cake pops until 2 a.m. and then starting our day over again the next day.
Right.
We were running it as well as working. So
I think the hard thing with food trucks, no matter what it is you're making, is you have to pre-make a lot of it
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want the idea of the food truck is to avoid the lines.
Yeah.
To get fresh food,
yeah,
but not the line. But have you guys ever been in a food truck line? I mean,
Yeah, it's the worst.
I am like,
the
I could have gone
worst.
home and made my own fajita.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard.
Takes forever.
Yeah, it takes so long.
That's why you have
yeah.
to find the ones that aren't popular and go there for mediocre food. But
You are
fast.
right.
Yep.
I have done that.
Yep.
I've gone to the one I didn't want to go to.
Yep.
Because there's no line.
because you were hungry.
But you know what one is huge in American Fork?
What?
Is that corn dog one.
Oh yeah.
They bring that one in every week, and there's very little lines, and they can just get those out. I think they have a couple of air fryers,
Yeah.
but everyone swears by them.
Huh.
Yeah.
I haven't had them.
They're a
Nor have I.
McGee's Trophy parking
Yeah,
lot
they're always
all
in
the
I've
McGee's
seen
time.
Trophy.
them there a lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
but we haven't tried them.
So tonight is a very special night because we have 2 guests.
To be fair, it could be a special morning. Just whenever you're listening.
Whenever you're listening,
Good point.
Yeah.
but for our sake, it is evening.
There you go.
So we have a family member of one of the founding fathers of this podcast.
Wow. This is gonna be a long introduction, isn't it?
In the beginning of time.
Sam is a high school student at American Fork High School,
A student?
A teacher.
American Fork resident.
I am-
What did I say?
You said
Student.
High school.
Always a student. Thank you,
Sam
Jake.
is a-
Once a
The
student-
humility that I have.
He's been a student at American Fork High School for 25 years.
Super,
Or
super,
whatever.
super,
He
super,
does
super.
look good. I could see how you mistake him for
Sure.
a student.
Yeah, yeah.
No, when you walked
Student
up, I knew exactly who you were. I didn't mistake you for anyone else.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
Hey.
Sam was my English teacher in my junior year of high school,
In what year, sir?
2001.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
no
my
other-
4th year of teaching.
Yeah.
Started in 97. Yeah.
Wow, you were new there. Newish.
Newish. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sarah is his wife and perfectly matched puzzle piece.
Aw.
So
And,
cute, Jake.
A member of the Alpine School District School Board. There we go.
Alpine School District Board.
Yep.
Alpine School Board of Education.
Oh, there you
Did
go.
I
you
say
go.
it right, Your Highness? Sorry, Sarah.
You got it right.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We're glad to have you on. So you've been teaching for you said 20.
26 years.
26
Yeah,
years.
starting my 26th year.
You're still there.
Yeah.
Same school.
Yeah.
The whole time?
Yeah.
That's not common, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, you talk to anyone and say, hey, what do your parents do? Or rather, you ask a class, how many of your parents have stayed at the same job their whole, as long as you've known, and no one. And if there is a hand that you say, "What do they do?" and they say, "They're a teacher."
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
They're
interesting.
teachers. Teachers stay.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, even within the district, you move schools, right? Don't teachers move schools quite a bit?
Administrators
Sometimes.
do. Administrators get
Oh.
placed. Once you go down that track, they'll place you or displace you. But you can stay.
Yeah.
You can stay. Well, it's one of the dilemmas of education, actually, is job security. If someone's bad, you're like, well, you
Tenured.
can't fire them unless they do something illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dilemma. But
So you've been there. Wow. So you were brand new-ish within the first 5 years of us going to the school. That is
yeah.
crazy.
You guys look the same too.
Yeah, right.
Except for me, who you didn't even recognize.
Stop! Listen, I introduced myself to Phil, and I'm like, "What's your name?" He's
Hi,
like,
Sam Beeson.
Phil Lydier. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I totally know who you are."
I love that you're apologizing about not recognizing someone after not seeing them for over 20 years.
Well,
Yeah.
but this is Phil.
It's me, right?
Phil's the guy.
He once pulled my shoe off and threw it down the
That
hallway.
is, we have a video of that.
Yeah.
Big Cave TV.
Oh, my
Ancient
goodness.
history now.
We'll have to email it to you. We got it all digitized.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's what
Well,
we've been.
We're happy to be here. Sarah's really smart. Ask Sarah the questions. She knows.
I was going to say, is there a conflict of interest with one being a teacher in the district, the other one being member of the
She'll
board?
ask me sometimes pillow talk. She'll say, "How was your day?" And I'll say, "Are you asking as my boss, or do you care?"
Is she technically your boss?
Am I doing okay? Is that what it is?
I think the school board has you have the authority to can someone, right? If they're doing something.
No, we don't. We don't usually get involved in the day-to-day runnings of the district. We've got great administrators for that. Really, the job of a school board member is to hire a wonderful superintendent who can oversee the day-to-day operations of a
Right.
district.
Have you been in the education field to get to where you're at now?
No,
Or-
actually, that's a great question. We have 5 children and 5 grandchildren. And Sam taught, and I was home with the kids, and so I volunteered a lot in classrooms. I was, at the school a lot, and you guys can appreciate this because I was the booster president for the American Fork Highschool marching band.
Hey-o. What
Yep.
year?
Years.
Years.
I don't know because it was when our
5 years ago.
Yeah. Well, no, because Eliza, it was, 10 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. But that was like running a small junior high,
Yeah.
with 200 plus students.
And
But-
that band is a big deal.
Oh,
'Cause
it-
they're been an award-winning band for
for
decades.
Yeah, decades. And
Since Beethoven was their first instructor.
I think it's put American Fork on the map
Heck
with
yeah,
a lot of
it
people.
has.
They're definitely well known. But so something that I kind of have passion for is, just good schools and good teachers and making sure our students are taken care of. So no educational background there.
Yeah.
Just the supporter of Sam at home.
And how long have you been doing it now?
I've been on the school board for 4 years, and I'm currently up for re-election this year. And so I made it through the primaries, and the general election is in November.
So I remember just hearing about you running for the school board, and I remember there was some platform. I just don't remember what it was. But what was your thing that you're like, I want to run for the school board because I would like to do
It was
this.
chocolate milk in the drinking fountains. But
Yeah.
that,
Oh, it
what
was chocolate. I thought it was root beer.
No, I hate
That might have been someone else. One of the other.
Yeah.
Honestly, either I have a really bad memory. I think it was just mainly to kind of give voice to, parents, making sure that they feel like they're listened to. That's kind of a big thing for me especially right now with things so divisive, 99% of the time, and as you probably know, school board members aren't like the most well-loved people right now. There's just been a lot of issues.
That's
in the last
weird.
couple of years. But I don't know. It's a challenge for me, and I love to be able to get anybody, wherever you sit on whatever side or spectrum that you sit politically, at the table and to talk, because I think we owe that to our kids. To be able to show them that you can sit down with people that you don't necessarily agree with, but you can find common ground somewhere and be tolerant and work together. So, I mean, I didn't really have a platform, but now more than ever this year, that is a huge issue for me.
Having parents involved, but being heard also.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the people that call me angry, I mean, I just let them talk and I listen. And 99% of the time, they're like, thank you.
Yeah, they
That's
call
all they
you
want.
up and they're angry for some reason.
Yeah.
I thought someone's calling you angry. I'm like, I don't know why someone would call you angry. You seem like a very
guess I could've-
super pleasant person.
Yeah.
But
that was her platform. Call me angry.
Yeah. Call me wild angry.
Call me comma.
Well, I will tell you that is Sarah, as my wife on the school. She's very good at calming the waters, and she really will. She's very confident talking to people of diverse backgrounds, and obviously we have these standards that are very different from other people. Like we think differently, but you gotta listen to people.
yeah.
And there are many people who just refuse to listen to someone who they disagree with finish a sentence.
Yeah.
I heard a concept a while ago that was basically we've always disagreed, like as people, but there was a point when there was just a certain amount of respect to listen to somebody and pay attention to what they're doing and try to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
That's the element that I feel like is missing because we still don't disagree. We do that just fine. Like we don't need help with that.
It's such an easy thing to disagree with someone. It's so easy to say, poke a hole.
Yep.
But really, to sit across from someone who's saying 10 things that you disagree with and then finding one thing and then being able to say, not in a manipulative way or even a strategic way, but compassionate way, say, I really like what you said. When I hear you say that, I hear that you value students and family. And I think we agree on that. But it's a craft.
Well, and I think that's the problem with today with social media and those kind of platforms is because you really miss the nuance of hearing panic or concern in someone's voice. I want to be able to see you, and if I can't see you, at least hear you. And so I've been criticized that I'm not on Facebook as much as I should be, dealing with, school board issues. And it's not because I don't care. It's because I care more about what you're saying. And some of these discussions deserve more time than a drive-by answer.
Right.
We need that time to sit and talk things out.
We've discussed this before, but I think that social media is not a valid form of communication with people. And I would even go further and say that a text message is not, and written. Now, handwritten stuff is almost different. There's a bit personable elements to that, but you could easily send someone in a written format, did you cook the Eggos in an air fryer? Or you could say, did you cook the Eggos in an air fryer?
Totally.
And they mean totally different things,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
And when people read social media things, half the time it's yelling about whether the Eggos are in the air fryer or not. It's like, what in the heck is going on? And it's like, no, I was saying, hey, what the heck's going on?
And that's why we have emojis, right? To be able to determine.
really is, though.
I mean,
I
that
know.
really is why, is to say, wait a
Tone.
second, was that sarcasm? Was that anger? Was that, is that another attempt at humor? It's hard. And that's why I say that I'm kind of old fashioned, I guess, that way is I'll come to your house. Let's sit down and talk.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my way. But I think that if we are voting for people, our elected officials, we need to hold them accountable and they need to be heard. Everyone deserves to be heard.
Right.
And so that's a long answer to your question. I have an open door policy.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Context is critical, especially when you're dealing with issues that are important, like education, and how what people actually think need to be done when you're solving problems.
Yeah.
Context is, you can't just do it with a Facebook post.
It's funny because Sarah has received Facebook posts. I've received angry emails from parents as well. Every time those happen, and the tendency is to bombast back and go back at them. Best thing is to say, hey, are you comfortable talking on the phone? I'm happy to talk on the phone. Are you okay meeting? And it's funny because sometimes they will respond publicly. It's like, Sarah Beeson left me a voice message. All she wants to do is talk. She doesn't want to. And it's like, and I was like, what? And when
forbid.
students have done, no kidding. When students have come to me with problems, like their parents are like, my son said this. I just say, let's talk. Then we get in the room. There's Jake Nelson with his mom. And I say, hey, so good to be here. Jake, what's your understanding of when things are due? And you're like,
and due dates. What does that mean to you?
Well, or anything. It's like, what do we do every day at the beginning of class? And he says something, and then his mom says, you didn't say that, and then he talks, and then she talks, and then it usually solves itself.
Yeah.
But you're right. I like what you say, though, because there's so much nuance that's missed in writing.
Mhm.
And writing is such a craft. It's
Yeah.
so important to be clear in writing, but boy, the emotion, everything's charged.
Yeah.
Charged.
And I actually hate emojis. Sorry to get all confrontational about this, but because half the time someone will put like a laughing emoji, and I'm like, you can
What's the
laugh
other
in 50 different ways. Is
Yeah.
this genuinely funny? Are you making fun of me? What's happening?
Yeah.
Now,
okay.
there are differences of emojis' laughters. Have you looked at all of them? Because there's the one that has the more open, gaping mouth with, more
tears, I
tears,
know.
and then ones that are streaming down your face like you're really hysterically laughing.
Yeah. And half
There's-
yeah.
Ones that eyes are half closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never made any effort to understand emojis or like texting etiquette or anything. My wife always complains to me, like, you haven't answered that text in like 2 weeks. I'm like, I don't have to answer a text. Like,
Yeah.
it's just something someone
Yeah.
sent to me. Like,
Well,
they can
this-
call me. Like,
This is a really
So-
good point, though. But it all speaks back to our main point: is you got to talk to people.
Right.
yeah.
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 Which is actually a big reason we started this podcast, because we're like,
Yeah.
I want someone totally different to sit across from me, because by the end, we're going to have something that we can be like,
Totally.
we should hang out sometime.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, we have dear friends that so many of our friends are so different from us, but we love talking to them.
Right.
We
And we love
value
them.
that.
We love it.
We
Yeah.
value
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
think that's what we're missing is we kind of can, if you're not careful, your viewpoints can be quite myopic and you can live in a vacuum if you don't, if you're not, if you don't have that ability to reach out and listen and actually appreciate some of those differences.
Right.
And I think, our founders, they would debate all day long. And then when they were kind of done and they wrote a little thing here and there, they would go downstairs and have a
cake-
drink.
They'd have a cake pop. They used to stay up till midnight making those things. And
Yeah.
And they were
2 a.m.
delicious.
2 a.m.
No, but I had heard that. I can't remember what I was watching, but some historian was on a talk show or something and mentioned some kind of story to that effect where Thomas Jefferson was yelling at Ben Franklin, let's say, and, oh, that's too religious and you, blah, 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 and the other, and they're like shouting at each other. And when the session was over, the one went over and put his arm around the other, and like they loved each other was the idea this historian was trying to get across. But they could love each other and disagree and
see, now
work things out.
compromise is a swear word.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
People don't even like to hear the words. If you were to go out and say, I compromise with people,
You're weak.
You
That's
gave
right.
in.
And I think they think that you're compromising your principles. But I have seen a lot of leaders that have that ability to keep their principles, but can compromise on situations where it's give and take.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a little bit.
And that's how it's supposed to
That's
be.
how it's supposed to work. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, on so many issues, it seems like there's a really obvious compromise. And for some people, like you said, it's like, no, I can't compromise on this. And maybe just because I fall more in the center on a lot of things politically, I'm just like, why? Why can't you just take a little of this and a little of this? Like, neither of you are going to be totally happy, and neither of you are going to be totally miserable. Where
Right.
in the other situation, it's all or nothing. And I'm not saying there aren't causes where, that shouldn't be fought tooth and nail, but it seems like, to me, a lot of what's going on in America could just be kind of watered down a little. I don't know.
Yeah, be a little bit nicer. In
Yeah.
fact, I don't know if you addressed it on this podcast. I don't know, but they just did a study. I shouldn't say that. It sounds like it's some empty. You don't know where this is coming from. But they interviewed college students and said, "How many of you are you willing to live across the hall in a dorm from someone who's antithetical to your political platform?"
Right.
And 50% of them said, "I won't even live across from them. I can't
Wow.
be around them."
Wow.
But then also in the study, they articulated how if you don't start with political things, but like, hey, so where are you from? Where they're from,
Yeah.
who their parents are, do they have families? And you're like, really? You got a brother that skateboards? I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, your brother's gay? My brother's gay. Wow, that's interesting. And then when you go politics, the dukes go up a little bit, but it's like, but you keep talking.
Yeah.
There's a level of
Yeah.
respect established.
Yeah.
And in reality,
Well, there's something outside of politics too.
Yeah.
Like you've established this ground, like, oh, we have something in common. So, oh, we don't agree, but we can like chill out a little about it, as opposed to, hi, how you doing? I'm Republican.
You're right.
Whoa, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
here we go.
Well,
So,
if you can find, if you can learn to find value in disagreement, then that's when you can really, not only you can solidify your beliefs, but if you're willing to change, you can be even more convinced about what matters to you. It just,
That's right.
Haven't been able to have that dialogue and understand that, sometimes it's okay for us to disagree and find something that we agree on.
You guys are coming up on your 20-year reunion. What is it? 20?
20.
This is funny because a lot of people don't go to their class reunions because they're like, I hated that, because everyone was polarized. There was the parking lot kids and the band kids and the jocks. But I'm telling you right now, because I run the class reunions for Orem High School. We just had our 30. By the 20th, which you're coming up on, every person in your class will have been hit by a truck of some sort. All the accoutrements, all the 5-year reunion, you're trying to establish yourself. Same with 10. But by 20, someone had cancer. Someone's on their third marriage. Someone has grandkids. And you're like, oh my goodness, we are so much more alike. And it's a very simple, I'm oversimplifying what we were talking about political parties, but boy, high schools are like that. And by the time you go to your reunion, you're like, oh my goodness, we're all the exact same person.
That's so funny.
It really is. And it's joyful to see kids that were rude to you and they've been beat up and they're going to AA and you give them a hug. And it's the best.
Yeah. But I'm going to toot Sam's horn for a second because I know he won't. But that's what makes Sam such a good teacher, is because I think his students love him because Sam truly loves people.
Yeah.
And he finds genuine.
I don't remember their names. It's Phil.
Well,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's losing his memory.
No, that would be hard anyway.
Yeah.
Like, not to interrupt you.
No, but I do think that, because he has a genuine interest in people. And you guys can attest to that. Maybe you felt it when you were his students, that he really did care about you and he liked to have fun. But those are the teachers like that it's so easy to champion in education. And you want those students to have those connections in the classroom. And Sam does a great job at that. Good job, dear.
Well, thanks for joining our podcast today.
No, I think that's absolutely right. I was just going to say, you were a popular teacher at school.
I think it's because I'm good looking. And all you people,
so good
please
looking.
close your eyes.
So true.
High cheekbones.
Exactly.
Big blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
That's probably exactly why. No, but I think, you were there 4 or 5 years by the time we'd gotten there. And it was well known in the school, you got to get Beeson. Beeson's the best. You've got to get Mr. Beeson.
Thank you. That's nice.
Well, and you were a great teacher. And looking back, at least my experience coming up in American Fork, you were more rare than I think you should have been in that system. There were a lot of teachers we had that were kind of phoning it in. We had teachers. We can go on all day about junior high disaster teachers, but I think that's a really good thing. And I guess the real question is, like, you seem to be a person that's drawn to teaching. You like people, like your wife said. You want to do that. How do we get more of you? How do we draw more of you, or people like you, or how do we get better teachers in general? Like,
I don't know how to answer that, because here's the thing, Phil. I look at you. And you were really fun to talk to. You're an interesting guy. Didn't always do your homework, but I knew you were driven by other things.
For sure.
No, I remember. No. I'm like, no, he does stuff. He just doesn't do school very well.
Yeah.
School's just school.
Yeah.
I have a handful of teachers that I adored growing up, but they were in college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just they were smart. They knew their stuff really well. And they would listen and they talk to you. Some people have a teacher voice where the bell rings. They're like, everyone sit down. We will wait till everyone's sitting down. And you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, do you talk like that to anybody?
Dinner's ready.
Okay, never mind.
Children.
All moms.
Time for bed.
Teachers.
We will lay our heads down on our pillows.
Yeah. And you give your kids a rubric at Christmas to make sure everything got done. Just kidding. No, I don't know. I do think it's funny because I don't even consider myself, I know I'm a teacher, and I know I do. I'm not discounting that. It'd be stupid if I said anything other than that, but I don't know. I do think there's value in every person, especially the kids who don't like school.
Right.
They're fascinating because they do something and they don't want to be talked down to. And I'm not trying to manipulate the conversation, but I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I have 2 of them right now because we've only been in school for 10 days.
Right.
and 2 of them just do not want to be there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just said, all right, hey, I'm not going to say it. Okay, Hunter. I go, Hunter, you got to memorize this. You got 4 lines. Just say it to me today and you're done. He's like, I'm not. He's a cowboy. I'm like, you can do it or not. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
You know what?
Yeah.
I might oversimplify this for you. I think the qualities that you have that make you an amazing teacher are very similar to qualities when you meet a good doctor that really connects with you, and you meet a good, contractor or a good person at the bus stop. There's someone that actually gives a crap about the people that are in front of them. Not in a social way, but true, genuine care and love for someone in front of you, and they recognize you as an individual. So you're not in a machine going past the on the conveyor belt. You actually stop the machine and you look at that person. You can actually address them. The thing that I think Phil's trying to point out is we need a lot more of that.
Yeah.
People that have that genuine care for each individual person, because it's probably a lot to do as well. Like as a teacher, to be able to put forward that much care and love for everybody.
And that's the goal of a school board member too, is always to recruit and retain teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard thing. I mean, if you ask any teacher right now, they feel like there's a lot of pressure. The last couple of years have not been easy for teachers.
Yeah.
But, if you can get someone who can look beyond the curriculum and that can look beyond the day-to-day, to-do list. And we talked a little bit about this, and Sam and I have this phrase at our house that his dad came up with that has been kind of our, I'm not going to call it a family motto, but we say it a lot, is no rule should be an exception for a brain, and no brain should be an exception for a heart. And that's really where we need to get to get kids and for people to understand that rules are here, but really everyone likes to be dealt with the heart.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know how we can recruit that from nearby colleges, BYU, UVU, who we partner with, and a lot of those, teachers come that way. But that's what we're really hoping for, is a genuine love for people. Because guess what? Life goes on and things work out.
Yeah.
We were reading a book together, Sarah and I. It's called The Power of Moments. It's just a thing. We were traveling together. It's funny because we never read these books. I don't even know why we were reading it. It was for something. Anyway, but it said this. They had this study was done where they brought college professors into a room for a workshop. The requirement was bring your syllabus. Chemistry teacher brings his syllabus. Health teacher, PE, English, language arts. And then they say, we're going to address your syllabi, but we have a couple questions. What do you want your students to know in 10 years? Like, if having gone through your class 10 years from now, if you bump into them, what do you want? And 9 times out of 10, it was, well, I want them to ask good questions. I want them to be polite and listen to other people. We want them to be able to collaborate and catch up if they're not here. And then, oversimplifying again the story, they said, now just amend your syllabus to reflect that. Like, yeah, you're going to learn the periodic table, but really that's not the goal. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
And really, education is so much more bigger than the content.
Right.
Content is one of 3 elements. It's knowledge is that, but there's also the skill of talking to people, and your disposition is huge. Disposition, who you are. We teach who we are more than anything. And we've all done it. We've all been in a class where you're like, did they have their coffee? Okay, they're okay. You know what I mean? Your teacher's ticked off.
Yeah.
Or are they happy today? But if they're good-natured, like, Phil, I know your dad. Your dad is a good-natured man. Every time I've met him.
Yeah.
And I can count on that. And students can learn anything from anyone if the teacher is generally in a good mood, which means I have to purposely try to be in a good mood.
You have to put yourself in a good mood.
That's why I was like, I could never teach. All you're saying is, I think I'd be grouchy. That's all that.
Yeah.
But I
can't be
do
in a good
think,
mood.
That's it.
do think, I mean, you guys are thinking of the Sam you knew 20 years ago. But I will say, I think if you guys were to go into his classroom now, I think you would think he was even a better teacher, because I've seen Sam.
I'm slower now, though.
Well,
I'm so much
well,
slower.
it's not, but you're more, I feel
Hello.
like you're more intentional and deliberate
Yeah,
with how, and I think because we've raised children now, right? We don't have any, practically our one's leaving in a couple of months, and we're going to be empty nesters. And I think through, getting old and having that experience with kids, you kind of learn that, how to work with youth. And Sam, I think, is much better. I felt like there was a little more angst when he was younger. Like, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't they listening? Why aren't they writing? And now as an adult, he's like, well, because they have a life. I know what they do after school. My son does the same thing. And so I think that aging seasoning is better.
Well, let me ask you guys. You guys can each answer this, but you remember teachers, and you guys are all teachers. You're all parents. Are you all parents?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hardest teaching ever, is to be intentional and loving every day to them.
Yeah.
But you remember a teacher from your past, or you're like, or you know the hallmarks of a good teacher. I mean,
Oh, it's crazy. The people that I remember from high school.
Yeah.
I have 2 regrets in my life from high school. Well, in that time frame, one involved Bitcoin, but the other one is not having your class.
whatever. Did you say Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's a regret I have.
Super funny.
When that crazy guy comes up to you, hey, it's only $50. You're like, come on.
You're like,
it seems like a scam.
You mean you regret not coming up with the idea?
No, buying it.
Oh, there was no Bitcoin when we went to high school.
I mean, I was saying later on. I'm just saying Beeson's class and Bitcoin, okay? Just
you're funny.
Don't tie dates.
You're
to
very
it.
nice to say that. But what do you remember, though? But like,
Seriously, and it's so bad because I don't remember his name, but our science teacher, the zoobotany.
Jay Allen.
Jay Allen, great guy.
Now, did I remember all the species of trees and bugs? No. I remember the crazy weird antidotes that he'd give us on how to better your life.
Yeah.
He would always start with a story, wouldn't he? He'd be like, all right, I got something to tell you.
I don't remember it that well, but I do remember his stories. And that's what I remember, I guess, is my point.
Yeah.
Like, he was less interested in teaching about, how bacteria grows on a whatever, but he would teach that, obviously.
Yeah.
But then he would tell you how to handle depression, and he'd tell it in a way that was so weird that you're like, this guy's weird. And then later on in your life, you're like,
Well, that makes sense.
he might not have been that weird, but he's still kind of weird. Like, he used to tell us to look at yourself in the mirror for 15 seconds and smile. And then he would give the most awkward, crazy, weird smile in front of the whole class.
For
And the whole
15
class was
seconds. He did it. He did
like,
that.
okay. But then one day I remembered that and I smiled and I was like, you know what? He's actually right.
That's cool.
It's weird though.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Because he's charged by his contemporaries, not his, but all. If you teach too much of that, you're seen as, they're just basically doing a sociology class. You're just chicken soup for the soul. But it's not that, because he was teaching you, but embedded in it was him.
I still know where and what ginkgo biloba is.
Hey.
I know. Yeah. There's a lot of things
See,
I
that's
learned
cool.
from him. Yeah.
It's still there.
And
Just off
the
Caveman
tree.
Boulevard.
Mhm.
So, and I wondered about this, how, like being a teacher, you're in a classroom with students. You're not really in other teachers' classrooms. So how much input do you get, or like, do you even know what's going on in the other classes? Like, do you, like,
Yeah.
or do you just talk in the break room? Like,
When I started, it was very independent.
yeah,
But right around the year 2005, PLCs, professional learning communities, that's kind of that's the jargon in education.
right.
Once a week, we meet in teams, 11th grade team, 12th grade team, AP team. And we roughly try to say we're going to be teaching the same stuff and give the similar assessments. But as language arts teachers, we are teachers still. We have to be us. So we're not lockstep. It's one of the dilemmas of education, because a lot of people say we got to be teaching the same thing on the same day. So no matter what class this kid goes into, he can go into Brown's room or Wilson's room. They're going to get the same thing. You can't go communist like that.
Yeah.
What you can do is say, we're going to give this assessment sometime this term that deals with theme. And what are you going to teach? Well, I'm going to teach this book. I'm going to teach this book, but we're assessing the same principle.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more now. And it's tough because I pride myself on being Tom Cruise, a maverick. I don't like working in teams.
Oh, I thought you meant still looking good after 30 years.
That is what I thought.
No, but I do it in church all the time. In church, I'm always working in teams.
Yeah.
But at school, maybe it's because I think some of the stuff's just dumb. Like,
Yeah.
they're teaching stuff. I'm like, I don't believe that, and we're supposed to do this, and so I don't do it. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the content is
I'm not listening. I'm not
Yeah.
listening to that.
whatever. But,
Here's your boss over here. Here comes your review.
but to your point, what you remember high school, we remember so little, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Of the content, you mean?
well, yes.
Yeah.
You remember the people.
The lockers.
You remember,
Lunchtime.
people. No one uses lockers.
That's so funny to me.
0% of people use lockers. No one uses lockers.
That's
There are lockers at the school
Still there.
but nobody.
Yeah.
They're assigned lockers.
Yeah, you can
But-
get one, but no, I have not heard a locker. In fact, someone used one the other day. I'm like,
What was that? Is that a gun?
From the, yeah, exactly.
That's
PTSD.
everyone under your desk.
What was that?
Under your desk.
Whoa, that's weird. Why is
They
that?
just take everything in their backpack. I do believe that has something to do with the cell phone.
Yeah.
Everyone is their world is carried with them.
Yeah.
They don't leave things. Everyone takes everything with them.
Well, you don't need books and things. You've got your iPad.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very different.
Chromebooks. Well, maybe
Yeah.
not. At
Everyone.
your school,
It's
but-
1-to-1. Everyone has their own Chromebook.
Yeah.
The school gives everyone a laptop. Everyone has their own laptop.
Wow.
That
Wild.
is insane to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
What about like gym clothes for?
They're
all
digital
virtual.
as well. In
Yeah.
fact, in
Digital
American Fork,
clothes.
2 gym kids were arrested.
Yeah.
It's all
Because they didn't update their
Yeah.
app. On
Yeah,
the,
you
it's all VR gym now.
It's a VR gym.
Day one, you set up your avatar, and these two didn't get dressed. Apparently,
Exactly. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go to the beginning of this podcast. Okay, what about you? What do you remember?
I remember something you used to always do, and it actually just recently hit me based on Sarah, what you said, that he just loves people. But you used to stand outside of your room, and I'm sure you probably just made a habit out of doing it because you enjoy people, and you would say hi to students as they walk by. Whereas most of the other teachers down the hall were at their desk and, getting ready for the next class. Your getting ready for the next class was mingling with the students that you teach.
It was a strategy initially, meaning it's like, I need to get to know them. But they really are interesting people.
Uh-huh.
And if you want to get something out of a kid, I cannot tell you how many times I've walked into a room, a teacher's sitting at a desk, and kids are coming in and they're talking. And the teacher's just sitting there and they're just on their computer. And then when the bell rings, they're like, okay, it should be quiet now. And I'm like, what are you doing? Do you honestly? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, there's a million things I can say on that. I don't think anyone has a silver bullet on that, but.
At the same time, the bell doesn't ring, and then you salivate and get a treat. Like, that's not how people work.
Exactly.
Like,
you just don't. Yeah.
You mingle, and then it's like, hey, let's get started. All right, and everyone can be quiet if you're connected with them already.
Go ahead.
And what I was trying to say earlier is that you seem to have a skill. I think that maybe can't be taught to somebody. Like you can't get and maybe you can in a really clinical way. And maybe this is a weird way to put this, but
It is.
it's coming from me.
You're right. It's weird.
But,
I'm uncomfortable.
But let's say that somebody has autism and has difficulty communicating with people. It's almost like trying to teach that person, like, not that you can't teach that person, like, oh, when someone looks at you, connect in this way, like. But there are a lot of people who are teachers that seem to not get that connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, it's not something you can just, it's kind of innate in some people. Maybe not.
I
Maybe
think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Parker Palmer. He wrote a book called The Courage to Teach. He has a very simple formula, and I believe it's true because I've, like you, have been a student for years.
Yeah.
He said every teacher says, what am I going to teach? And if you think about, you played the drums too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What am I going to teach? How am I going to teach it? Why am I teaching it? And then he said, no one asked this question, the fourth one, but he says, it's the most important. He says, who am I to teach it? Now, if you think about that, his point, he's a Baptist from Texas, and he said, if you have a moral compass, you can teach anything to anyone because you're the vessel through which the curriculum comes. And if your life is grounded, and think of anyone, you can just think of any culture, any religion, anyone, if they seek to have a balance and a foundation in their life, it's like, I honor people's opinions. I love my spouse. I try to show respect. And then when you teach, it's different from the guy who's like looking at porn and he's also he's irritated with his kid and he's doing this. And then he's going to go teach something.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't do it. You just can't. And that, when he said that, I read that, I'm like, I absolutely believe this.
Right.
Yeah.
But
You
the thing is,
dog-eared that one for sure.
yeah. And that was one that I'm like, and it's not like I capitalize on it, but I will tell you that talking, like, if you were across from me, you're fun to talk to, Jake. I mean, we've talked a lot, but you have a fascinating life. And if you'll just listen to them, there's a handful of people in my life who listen to me. Sarah's one of them. She's like, how was your day? What else happened? What else? And I'm like, no one asks me that.
Yeah.
No one asks me how I'm doing. Number one thing, if you go into any high school or junior high and you say to a kid, how you doing? They will either not respond or they'll say, I'm tired. Those are the two answers. That's it. They're like,
That
I'm
sounds
tired.
about
right.
That's the social
Yeah.
response now. I'm tired.
It's yes. And,
Oh, wow.
and I used to get irked with it, but now I'm like, so role play, how you doing? And you say,
I'm tired.
I'm like, what were you doing? How late did you stay up?
Let's check my screen time here.
Exactly.
I'm like, screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just talk.
3 a.m.
Three.
Doing what?
Are you
TikTok. I mean, I was on YouTube also.
Yeah. Great YouTube. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube.
Yeah.
But most people, they just don't, and they're not accustomed to someone talking to them.
Isn't that's an interesting thing?
It is. And a lot of people like, you could be a teacher, right? Yes.
I have taught, not in formal education, but
Yeah. But do you think you could do it like every day? Could you do it?
I think so.
I do too.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I've been involved with kids a lot since I left high school. And I'm again not downplaying it. I think I could be one of those people that
too.
naturally can relate to kids.
I do too.
and talk to them.
I really do.
But the money's just not very good.
There it is. There it is. And
That's the worst thing.
I'm glad
ever.
we've pigeonholed Sarah. Sarah, you better raise.
Hey,
There you
actually, all the teachers got a little bit of a raise,
Yeah, we did.
4% increase.
I will tell you
this
that
year.
Oh,
at
that's
year
good.
26, I finally, this is like the first year that I will only have one job. I'm like,
Hey.
and I can support the family very well. Plus,
That's
none
good.
of the kids are at home.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh,
You guys are
why do we have a
empty
savings?
you got 5
Yeah,
grandkids.
pretty much. Yeah, we
Holy
got 5
smokes.
grandkids.
Hey, you got grandkids to spoil.
Yeah.
Your budget's not there yet.
But you know what? It's the thing is I think teaching takes. Well, you guys are parents,
Yeah.
and you know that moment when you hit your head on the pillow and the kids are down, and you're like,
For
"That's
the-
this." Very similar to how Sam feels when he comes home from school.
Right.
It's kind of like, I just need to. Woo, that was hard. You can imagine how hard that is to carry that whole thing, like memories. Can you imagine being a high school student during COVID?
Oh gosh,
And or being a teacher during COVID.
even worse.
You can see how that is just not gonna work. And I think the thing that was frustrating to me as a board member, looking across the country and communicating with board members on the East Coast and on the West Coast. I have a friend who serves on a school board in Southern California, but seeing how the expectation for teachers to teach online, that isn't the same. Teaching online is not even this.
No.
It's like I drove a taxi and I'm really good at driving, so now I'm going to drive an 18-wheel. It's not the same.
Right.
It's not the same, and so I applaud Sam because
No, it wasn't a big,
no, but I mean,
did things way differently from everyone
but
else.
that's my point. Is Sam does things differently because he knows what his students need,
Yeah.
and he'll get more results because he understands what kids need. And so you couldn't get that a lot from
Okay,
everybody
stop
else.
that. Okay.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Thank you for the nice words. Sincerely, thank you. But
Okay,
talk to my colleagues. I'm not.
okay, is that all that I was supposed to say?
He's not
Let's see, let me
that
go through my
great.
checklist. Okay.
He hasn't even seen his syllabus.
More than you know. That's absolutely true. Day by day, man.
No, but that's something I was trying to point out. That's a good thing, I think, because you're connecting with people. Obviously, there's got to be some kind of idea outline. Like
Sure.
we want people to go in a general direction this way, but how you get there should probably be loosened up. I don't know.
Well, because it doesn't, you can't catch. I don't even know how to what analogy to use, but you can't put everyone on the same path and go. Some people need more attention this way, that way. Some classes are totally different than other classes, and some individuals in those classes are totally different than the rest of the class. And so if you just go one rote way, you're just going to drive a bus and hope all the kids can jump on, and they're not going to.
Yeah.
That was a good analogy.
It was really
It
good.
was good. Very
Kept
good.
it.
I had to pull that from somewhere.
One interesting thing I've learned since I've grown up a little bit is like I'm a small business owner, and I look at like the cost of time all the time. Like if I've got to drive to someplace to pick up material or items that I need, I'm calculating how much time that takes. How much time is it going to take me to do this project versus subbing it out to somebody else? because if I don't, I may end up not making any money on a project. My wife, before we started having kids, was a teacher, and she taught music for, I think, K through 8. And I immediately saw like something I never realized while going to school, which is on most jobs, you show up at the job, you start getting paid. At the end of the day, you leave.
You clock in,
now
you
you're
clock
not
out.
getting paid anymore. A teacher puts so much time, a good teacher puts so much time in outside of that, like overtime, double time, a lot of the times. And it's crazy to think about, like, and this is kind of going back, and maybe I'm trying to make a point that we don't pay teachers enough, but the idea is like, and I'm sure you can relate to this, like, prepping for classes or projects or things can just consume a lot of your day. After school programs you might do, anything like that is all stuff that you may or may not be getting paid for. If you are, it's probably not great.
I've always thought of it a little. That is the general perception. I'm not disagreeing with you, but
Right.
I do have a really good job. Like I'm off when the bell rings at 2:15.
Yeah,
No one gets off at 2:15.
right.
Now I do have to do a lot of prep work.
Mhm.
I have teaching English 12. I teach 2 creative writing classes. English 12 co-taught. That means half the kids have special needs. So I have a co-teacher in there with me.
Right.
The next morning, I teach another co-taught English 12. Then I teach a college course, English 1010. Then I teach another college course, English 1010, 2010. And then I have just a regular English 12 class that's not co-taught. So everything's at a different speed. But if every day, English is a little different from everything else, because if everyone writes something a little every day, speaks a little, reads a little, and I teach them something they probably don't know, like a rule.
Yeah.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we wrote a little something. You read a little something. You learned a word you never knew, or you learned a concept of writing. That's pretty good. But bio, Jay Allen, like endosymbiosis, and we all speak English too. So it's about getting someone from A to B, this kid, and this kid from C to L. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like everyone's at different levels, but it is a nuance, but you get better at it.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I used to get not just taco pits, I'd get chalupas. These things would just gather, they'd come, like the sweat pit.
But to your point, when I think it was when we were coming out of COVID, so it was in 2020, it was the fall, and we were having kids come back, and our schedule was a little different. So we had Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday off.
Cleaning day.
Well, it was teachers were there, doing some things or helping online, but students weren't at school. And then you had Thursday, Friday. Well, we did that the full year, and then we had to vote how we were going to continue or discontinue that type of schedule.
Right.
And I heard from so many teachers that love that Wednesday schedule because it gave them time to prep.
Right.
And it gave them time, actually. And even my own son at the time, who was in high school, he was getting more feedback from his teachers, more than he ever had, because they had time to give it.
Right.
And I was there was 2 of us out of 7, 2 out of 7 that voted not to change it. We wanted to keep that schedule. And after COVID was over, I thought, what have we learned? Why aren't we doing things differently and switching things up like this so our teachers can be better teachers and have time to prep? Because prep, if you were to give a percentage, is how much of teaching?
It's a lot of
Yeah, it's a lot of
grading
time.
is a nightmare.
And the thing is that when those teachers feel prepared and the students feel like they've been validated in their writing, or they're understanding a math concept more, or whatever. If a teacher's happy, a student's happy. And if a student's happy, parents are happy.
Yeah.
The difficulty is, were your kids home on those days too? Did you have school age kids? Yeah.
Yeah. All elementary.
Yeah.
2 were in elementary.
And that's
at the time.
tough. If both the parents work, you're like, we gotta get childcare. It's tricky.
I'm talking solely secondary, because that was tricky.
But it was tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, with elementary.
My wife is an ILC for the district.
Cool.
ILC.
Innovative learning coach.
Canvas
And
and stuff. Yep.
yeah, so she teaches teachers how to use technology in the classroom. And when COVID came, her job was sealed
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was
Tenure.
a lot of Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of a huge learning curve with technology for teachers that no one ever saw coming. And she was super busy all the time.
Did it stress her out? Did she make it?
She did. Yeah. Yeah. She
They're still married too.
there was a lot of work at night, answering emails and teacher queries and stuff like that. Even throughout the summer, teachers were, trying to figure out how to use Canvas and all of the other Google Classrooms and all the things that they didn't learn in college when they're getting their degree to teach.
Yeah.
You just learn it when the time comes. You need to take it on.
And, there's so much research out there about even in college, like when you're in college, to take more than 4 online classes is at a collegiate level. It's like a person can't handle it. And we were asking kids to take 8 classes online.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the teachers are like, log in at 10, from 10 to 11, we're going to have a discussion. Then the next, and you have 5 kids at home and everyone needs a computer. And there's so much. It's like, no, we got to strategize. You got to make this a lot easier.
Well, it was a nightmare on our end. I think we can all agree, like with students, our children.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to sending them away, have someone else take care of them. Now one of us has got to be home getting them. Now it's like the parents are teachers, but there's also a teacher. And
the parents also have to learn the technology.
Yeah. And the parents, at least in our situation, we clashed so hard with our kids because it's just like, you got to get on here now. No, I don't want to do that. And we know they don't act that way. We know they don't do that at school. We're like, okay, like you got to, so it was hard on our end. I imagine it was hard on your end for sure.
Yeah.
It was a wild time.
When that ended and when we got out, I think, how many months was it? Was it the last term of 2020? When was it? Like
March.
Oh, it was March. So we had March, April, May. So we had about 2.5 months. Mm-hmm. All of my classes, I'm probably going to get fired for saying this, but this is what I said. I said to everyone, I'm like, I thought of every student, 8 classes. Every teacher's frenzied because they want to keep their job, so they have to make a Canvas course and make sure everyone logs on. And I just gave one assignment to all of my students, and I only gave them one assignment. I said, write a 1-page paper about the great pause and articulate how you're feeling, who you are, what's going on in your life, and I will give you an A.
Yeah.
So they're like, so that's all I have to do in English? Yes. I got 100% of people do it. Then I bound them and I put them in the school library. It's called The Great Pause. And I introed it with, this is a unique point in history. The following 224 students articulated their experience, and they all start with, this is the worst time of my life. I'm a senior. I waited for my senior year. I won't be able to go to prom. They're all single-spaced. It's like the best writing they've ever done.
Yeah.
Because they're invested. And they're alphabetized. So, and I just told them all, and, I just said, hey, when you come back for your 5 or 10 year reunion, you're 20, there's 2 books. I have one of my own, but there's 2 in the library. You can just pull it up, look at yours and look at all your classmates.
That's so funny.
But it's a thing because it was a moment. It's like when 9/11 happened, there were still teachers teaching when the towers were coming down. You're like, you have to be aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
You're like, why don't you watch TV all day and experience it?
Yeah.
But I get also why people did it. I mean, you guys all made adjustments too. I mean, it worked too. All your work was disrupted.
Yeah.
But you probably strategized. You're like, we got to keep working.
Yeah, we went 100% remote. I work in software as a project manager, and I've never met all the people I work with on my team. My manager, never met her.
Still.
It's all online. Yeah, still. Because, she lives in Florida, and other teammates live in Pennsylvania and California, and so it's different not going into an office.
You need to have her on the show.
But I wonder how many businesses are just like that. They kind of realized we don't really have to have the actual physical building.
Yeah.
We could save a
Companies
lot of money.
saved a lot of money, a lot of
renting
overhead.
big, $12,000 a month on rent when we can be doing this from our home or whatever.
Yeah. I'm curious to see long-term how the productivity will play out. Because they say initially that it's actually been better, which I think people are probably like, I want to show that I'm really, really good working at home because I really want to work at home.
Right.
Do you guys prefer? Do you prefer working at home?
Well, I can't. Well, I guess I worked at home quite a bit. It depends. Are the kids in school? I like working at home. But are they home doing homework online?
Yeah. It's hard during the summer.
Yeah.
Working at home because the kids are home. And,
Yeah. I can imagine.
But I don't know. It's hard to not have a transition between work and home. It's easy to roll out of bed be at my desk for my meeting, roll out of bed 3 minutes before my meeting starts. But not commuting to work. I can't, there's no mindset shift of, okay, now I'm on my way to work. I need to get into the mindset, prepare. It's like, all just one big blob.
It reminds me of
time.
not Groundhog's Day. Bill Murray, Bob. What about Bob? Remember when he goes to clock in? Remember, you're thinking
He gets out of bed.
He gets out of bed. He's
clock
like clink, clink, and then he turns around and sits in a chair. You think he's leaving his apartment. It was really funny back in the '80s, but now we're like, yeah,
that is a good movie.
That's good.
Yeah.
You need a she shed, so you can walk out to and do work in.
Yeah, that's my commute, walking across the lawn.
Yeah.
Getting
Hornet's
ready.
nest, no AC. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Well, depending on how busy I get, I've just rented an office before just to get out.
Yeah.
If that's the case, because I can't work at home with the kids there. The dynamic between me and my wife is like, oh, you're home, even though I'm working. So
Right.
it's just got to be like, it doesn't work for me. So
Yeah.
and I imagine a lot of people are like that. But a lot of people love working at home. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening on a wide scale if it continues.
I agree with you.
I don't know if you guys saw the headline, the Los Angeles School District, when they just started school, they are missing 11% of their students. 50,000 kids
not
are
showing
not
up?
at school.
Holy! Isn't that the biggest
geez.
district in
That's
the country?
Yes,
Yeah.
LA Unified District. And that makes you just wonder what, and we're even trying to figure that out. Our absenteeism last year was higher than it was the year before.
Right.
And so we're getting ghosted by students, but we're trying to figure out why, what's going on, why are kids not coming back?
And are they still? Is it like church where everyone's back in church, but you can still watch it online if you want? Is that
Yes.
why?
I will tell
Could
you,
be.
and this is not against the ILCs, the Innovative Learning Coaches, but when we came back live, I may be the only teacher at American Fork High School is doing this. I don't have a Canvas course because if there is one, a kid's like, it's on Canvas.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. They're like, is this on Canvas? No. Why? Because we're face to face.
Because you're here.
You're
Yeah.
here. We're just
Yeah.
going to talk. And a lot of students are like, oh, so it's on Canvas. So they just miss. So that's a balance too. We got to figure that out.
Well, and you've got to, that so many students are figuring out ways to work around this stuff.
Yeah.
Like blow up dolls of themselves, that
Yeah.
sit there until they need to. I'm sure something to that effect.
Loop videos, green
kids
screens.
Kids are figuring out how to not even show up to that, but
Yeah.
somehow get credit for it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Strategy. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so we try to make a habit of asking our guests in regards to the concept of America being forked, and there's a lot of division in many aspects of society, politically, religiously, socially, whatever it is. Obviously we've had kind of a trend with education. Our question for you guys is what do you feel America can do to kind of steer us back in what we would consider to be the right direction, coming together and, like we talked before, agreeing on things and whatever. What kind of solutions would you say are in your mind as far as bringing to America back together?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Moving on.
Thank you. Moving on.
Great question. Next question.
Yeah. One of the times, I guess, with 9/11, how old were you guys?
We were in high school.
10th grade?
10th grade? Okay.
For
so-
real?
Juniors?
Yeah.
Were you there?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not in New York.
We were at Clear Creek with the cheer squad when
We were in
9/11
Clear Creek.
happened.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You remember when that
Michelle
happened?
Orman's
Wow.
Oh, my.
cheer squad.
Well, when you look at 9/11, because everyone has a 9/11 story, everyone remembers what they were doing or, what was happening to them at that particular time on that particular day. But no one really talks about what I think is the most fascinating part of that time is 9/12. And that feeling that everyone had. And do you guys remember that feeling of all of a sudden you saw American flags everywhere?
Unification.
Total unification, and people were just nicer to each other and just kind of comforting. And there was just this feeling of we're Americans and we're in this together. Doesn't matter what color you are, what background you come from. I hope it doesn't take something like that again.
Right.
to force us to be unified. And I think if there's one thing that I wish or I would hope is that we find ways to talk. Mm-hmm. And I am scared for our kids if they see us just, lambasting someone on, social media and then getting up and walking out and then we tell them, don't be a bully, be nice. Our children are watching how we handle difficulty. And so I think talking and communicating and understanding, and I really believe, and Sam knows this, I'm a huge proponent of family dinner. I am. I think family dinners, if you really want to know what's going on with your kids, if you really want to connect with your kids, half hour every night consistently.
Sarah was really good at that, by the way. She was like, family dinner. And I was like, whatever. But then the kid loved it for years. And it eats into your schedule, but it has to be deliberate. That's good.
And I think we had a lot of good family conversations during that time. And just having a half hour of everyone phones away, just let's have that time together. I think learning to communicate, and you would be, maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but a lot of difficult conversations that are healthy, good, deep conversations that you can just talk around the dinner table are crucial conversations.
Yep.
And so I think those two things were, I think, could maybe get America back is eating together as a family, having those crucial discussions, and learning to communicate better.
So
with
mine
others.
piggybacks on hers. It's, I think something that could bless America is dads need to be dads and moms need to be moms. And the reason I think this doesn't happen is I think dads make a lot of mistakes and they feel like they can't rebound and still try to be a good dad. They're like, it's irreparable. I did something really bad. You can still be a dad. And mom, you can still nurture and love and be nice. But it's like, but I was on meth and I did this stuff, or I had an affair. It's like, you can still be a mom. A lot of people don't understand the power of change. You can still try. And if men will be men and women will be women, I mean, this is super controversial. You're going to take that out, aren't you?
Nope.
We're going to make it twice as loud.
But
men will be men. Men will be men. But I mean that in the best way, because regardless of anyone's circumstance, if they could say, take away every bit of fog of anything that is a pain in their life, it's like, if you could have the perfect life, what would it be? It would be like, I would have a dad who hugged and loved me and gave me some direction, and I would have a mom who hugged and loved me and gave me some direction. I would love, everyone wants that. And a lot of people feel like, especially if you feel like a loser as a dad, you're like, I got drunk last weekend. My wife doesn't know. Well, then stop drinking and just try. And tell your wife you were drinking and fix it. Just figure it out. But I think that's, and I've felt I could tell Sarah anything. A lot of people don't tell their spouses, but I've told Sarah everything. and that's hard to do, depending on your spouse too. But I do think that it comes down to families. It's like fathers and mothers, and rebound. Try to fix your marriage. And I'll end with this. I had a companion. I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and his
in Scotland.
Goodness, remember.
And good memory. And my companion, his parents were getting a divorce while he was there, and he and his siblings wrote home and they said, no, they're not. And they said, they each wrote to the parents and said, we love you, but we need you to act like adults and we need you to work it out because you're our parents. And years later, 25, I said, are they still married? He's like, yeah. Because they're like, I have to act like an adult. Mm-hmm. And when conflict comes up, I'm going to be a man, she's going to be a woman, and we're going to go to counseling and we're going to say sorry. And so I do think that. I'm really curious on what you guys think. I need to listen to the podcast.
Well, hey, we appreciate you guys being here with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Any final words you guys had on mind that you
we just think
wanted to,
the world of you. I am deeply touched that you'd reach out. That's nice of you to do. Yeah. I think that's nice to do.
You bet.
Yeah.
Phil, right?
It is Phil.
Come on, man.
No,
I'm never gonna
I know I'm a lot heavier than I used
Stop.
No. No, thanks for having us.
Thank you very, very, very much.
Nice.
It's been great.
All right.
Yep.
For America's sake, listen to the police. If you're going to get frozen waffles, cook them on the stovetop with butter and cinnamon sugar.
And listen to your damn teachers. Come on.
Yeah, listen to your teachers and show up for class.
That's right.
Come
Come
on.
on.
So you guys think
Do
we
your
fixed
homework.
America today?
Yep. It's done.
A part of
think
it.
it's
We fixed it.
We got a little
Better.
closer today.
All right.
Oh, it's
We
better.
had some intelligent guests on that were on their A game. This was a good episode.
All right. Good
Yeah.
night,
Thank
you.
everyone.
Yep, we'll see ya.
Goodbye.
If you have anything special you want on the show, call 385-DAD-0-MUG and leave us a voicemail, and we'll get to it
And check us out on
on the socials.
Twitter?
at
You know
American Forked.
That's right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Better keep your head up, listen to the teacher now. You gotta quit smoking meth and get up out of bed somehow. I went to the teacher zone, so take a ride into the teacher zone.
Hear the rest of this music and much more at patreon.com/American Forks.